Mike, Lynn, Memorial League. Week 2 Power Rankings. Gentlemen, sorry for the delayed power rankings, but better late than never. No title sponsor this week. Sales guy failed. Let's take a look at what happened in week 1. Weapons of Matt's distraction, 80.05. Logan's Rogers, 64.13. Nice little victory there for the Scribe in week 1. Squad's looking all right. Meat Eaters by a 10 spot, almost. 59.36 to Team Mangravy's 49.81. Tommy's Terminators really terminated Stuntcock, 71.83 to 27.96. Homies, 51.58 in the Brother Bowl over Juchi's Giant Jocks, 32.55 points. SOL gets thumped by Manitwork, 72.85 to 56.28. And the King Salami, Stern Rake, breaking the century barrier, 103.49, defeating yesterday's Corn, 48.55. League average, nearly 60 points. Congratulations to the winners. Better luck next week to the losers. Let's take a look at where the standings and where the league thinks, or the site thinks the power rankings lie. All right, so a new feature on the site this year is they have these power rankings up there. Mine don't exactly mirror these, but I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know what their formula is, but it's on there. Anyway, there are your standings after week 1. They don't really mean much, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Let's take a look at where I've got you ranked. Number 12, Stuntcock. 0-1, lost by like 50. Not a great showing by the defending champ. Lost my best receiver, second best receiver for the year. He was looking good in that first half, too. I drafted a bunch of old, decrepit running backs for some reason. So Arian's old, and Frank Gore is old, and Rashad Jennings is old. I always make fun of people for keeping defenses or drafting defenses too early, and then I got -4 points from Oakland. And then Russell Wilson's ankles messed up. So about as bad a week 1 as I could possibly have. So I am deservedly in last in the power rankings. Let's see who's in front of me. Number 11, yesterday's Corn. 0-1, getting marked down for your misuse of Matt Forte, even though this is a week 1 or week 2 power ranking. But I'm not a big believer in Devontae Freeman. I think your receiver depth is sketchy at best, beyond Baldwin and Hearns. And your tight ends are bad. You should probably start Matt Forte. Other than that, everything's great. Moving on. Number 10. Juchi's Giant Jocks. I don't know if I've said this before, Sean, but I enjoy your team, saying your team name. It's just, especially when you do it in that fake put on deep voice thing. It's really fun. Anyway, you're going with that double tight formation again this year, which you used a lot last year. And I get it, Olsen's good, Kelsey's good, but I don't know that is good enough to win a lot. I think CJ's a nice player, but you also have a pretty stark lack of wide receiver depth. But if CJ can be like that in week 1 every week, you probably rise in these rankings. Moving on. Oh, I think you benched him in week 1, which would explain your poor performance. Moving on. Number 9, Team Mangravy. Team Mangravy. Lamar Miller, interesting in that his first few years in the league, he was criminally underutilized. And now he is a workhorse, but I'm wondering if he's a type of player that is going to have that sort of diminishing return once you use him a certain amount. Maybe he was so good because he only got the ball a certain amount of times and he was fresh. Anyway, Drew Brees looked great. Outside of that, don't love your receiver depth. So you're number 9. Moving on. Number 8, the Homies. I got to say that week 1 Cam, it was against Denver defense, so it's probably not a great picture for how his season's going to go in terms of getting hit. But he got hit, so I wonder if he's going to last the season. And their tackles are bad. They got away with it last year, but Mike Remmers, a Viking cast-off at right tackle, who I think they actually gave a contract extension to, and then Michael Orr, who I know they gave a contract extension to at left tackle, not very good. Their interior O-line's very good, but I think their tackles are going to be a problem. I thought the rapport with Benjamin was fantastic, and he played well, but if he's going to get hit like that, I don't know how long he's going to see the field. I marked you down a couple spots for drafting another quarterback in the first round, but maybe you'll need it. Gurley, man, it could be tough sledding for him. That team is bad. 4 total wide receivers on your team. Now, you've got 2 very good ones with Jeffrey and Dez, right? But this is a top-heavy team. I think you might need to make a trade to even it out. So you're number 8. Number 7, Logan's Heroes. Ouch, that hurts. Yeah, that's bad. Oh, sorry. Anyway, Zach Ertz got hurt. I think he's going to have a good year, but maybe not now. This team's a little thin at running back. And looking at your running backs, it looks like Woodhead is your number 2. Now, he had a good week 1, but And then the Funchess, the keeping of Funchess. He barely played, and he was never that good. So I didn't really understand that. You do have 3 stars, 2 superstars and 1 kind of star in LaShawn, although Greg Roma got fired today. So it'll be interesting to see what, if anything, changed with that offense. I thought that was kind of a BS that he got canned. But anyway, I think LaShawn still got some upside for the year. You're going to need those guys to really perform, though, if you're going to win a lot of games. Moving on. Number 6. Weapons of Matt's Distraction. Nice name. Not. Okay, so a pretty big week 1, but trouble with Sammy. So that is something to be concerned about moving forward. I think Jameis is going to be a top 5 quarterback this year when it's all said and done. So great job getting him in the middle of the draft. I think you've got a lot of running back depth. I know you've got a lot of running back depth. And Zeke, despite not being efficient, scored. So that's good. I think you're going to need one of your young wideouts to pan out. Some second-year guys in order to stay in the top half of the league. If that doesn't happen, well, definitely don't have the worst team. I think I managed to pull that off. But if some of your youngsters pay off, it's going to be a pretty good team. And a nice turnaround from being a dead last. Maybe I'll remember that it's not destruction and that it's distraction one of these times. Anyway, thanks again for subscribing. Moving on. Number 5. Meat Eaters. I prefer to just call this team the Meaters, but I know Dave doesn't like that. So I'd have to ask, what's more fun, playing Willie Snead or saying Willie Snead? He just sounds like a guy the name of a level 3 sex offender that you've heard about on the news. But good player, good week 1. Looking at how your lineup shakes up, are you going to be playing Red Gun, maybe? I mean, you've obviously got the two studs in Nuke and Odell, and even with their lack of performance in week one, you still got the victory. And I kind of ripped Gary Barnidge at the draft saying, oh, look at his splits without McCown. Well, now McCown's a starter, so you might have a legit tight end there. Number 4, Man at Work. This team is good and deep. I mean, if you look at just like physical profile of your skill position players, Hyde, Lacey, Evans, Calvin Benjamin. Those are some big guys that, I mean, score touchdowns. I think Evans' TD production is going to be a lot higher than it was last year. I think it was kind of a fluke that it was down last year. It was just bad luck. He had some drops too, but I think he's a double-digit touchdown performer. I think Kelvin is too. He looked great, and that rapport with Cam was right back where it was. So 4 might be a little too light for this team, Rob. Number 3, SOL. This is the highest-ranked losing team, you might start 0-2, but most of that's because you're waiting on Bell, and then to a lesser extent Brady. I think the Brown trade obviously paid off. Paid off really for both teams, because Rob's team's still pretty good and deep, but once Bell's back, you've got probably that top running back, top receiver. I am concerned about Peterson. I know he started slow the last few years, but if you look at his last 7 games, not very efficient. And personally, I won't be sad to see his production fall off a cliff because I think the guy's a POS. But anyway, I think this team's very good. It's just not going to pick up or hit its stride until week 4 or 5. So this will be one of you might even back into the playoffs or make a late push to the playoffs, but end up being the best team come playoff time. Number 2, Tommy's Terminators. Okay, so despite having a lot of Titans, this team's pretty good. So 70-some points without Gronk in week 1. Murray with the 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the receiver who you sniped me on last year, Amari Cooper, is a stud. Johnson's a stud. And I think Sharp will be a guy you end up keeping next year. So, to be in the number 2 spot without Gronk even playing yet, and he's not going to play this week either. Now, the Murray production, I still think at the end of the year, Henry is going to take a lot of snaps from him. But Murray looked good in week 1, and he obviously has a bigger role, or I underestimated his role in the passing game. So, I got you number 2. And which brings us to number 1, Stern Rake. Congratulations on the King Salami. Big stuff. I think last year you got completely boned by your top guys underperforming in Andrew Luck, and then Cook started slow, and obviously Charles got hurt. Whereas this year, Luck looked fantastic in week 1. Like, he looked like 2014 good. You made the smart pick in the right spot, getting Andrew Ware, or Spencer Ware, sorry, to handcuff with Charles. I think Ware might end up being the better player this year. And then Cooks looks like a true wide receiver 1. And obviously with Green. So this is a pretty good team in number 1 for a reason. The 1 weak link, the defenses, Cowboys, Steelers, I personally wouldn't want to be relying on those 2 as my defenses, especially considering both those defenses are probably going to be prone to giving up negative points. All right, let's take a look at predictions for week 2. Stern Rake, 77. Meters, 60. Man at work. Sends Juchi's giant jocks to 0-2. Yesterday's corn ekes out a victory over lowly Stuntcock, 48-47. Homies continues their early season roll, 69-52 over Logan's Rogers. Tommy's Terminators damn near doubles up Team Mangravy, 65-37. And Weapons of Matt's Distraction, nice name, not 81. SOL, 64. That's it for the week. Again, apologies I'm being late, and apologies for this one being a little long, but it's the first one. I'll tighten up the length going into week 3. Congratulations and good luck to everyone this week, except for you, Mike.